Here's some things you might not know about our John Eric Poli, your bartender, right? I mean, so that town. He's also a throws coach at Pittston Area High School and a huge UFC fan. You were just in Las Vegas, John. Big fan fest, I guess, going on down there. One of the events you went to, a women's panel. And maybe a few years ago, this wouldn't have been possible because you told me there's been a rise of women in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a few years ago, this wasn't even a thought. Dana White said, why would I have women fighting in my business for it? This doesn't make sense. And now all of a sudden, it's taken off. Women have been taking over. You know, Ronda Rousey, probably the biggest star ever in mixed martial arts, and the biggest pay-per-view ever, or the one with the most crowd attendance, I should say, was headlined by two women, co-main event by two women. So it's just something that's been taking off, and for something that you never thought would have ever happened has now been probably the best move of the company.
So, John, you told me this group of women, really the pioneers, I guess, of this. They're the first generation coming through. So it was kind of different when they were getting their start compared to maybe some of the women starting up now.
Exactly. A lot of these women, surprisingly, when they were getting signed by the UFC, they had no idea what it even was. And I know, like Chris Sideboard, growing up in Brazil, she said her parents were trying to force her to become a dentist. And then now she said, it was really funny, now I punch teeth out for a living. And then I know Paige Van Zandt, I know if anyone watches Dancing with the Stars, probably saw her on there and saw her story. She was bullied growing up, actually. So she just took the classes just as self-defense. And next thing you know, I was like, hey, you know what, you're pretty good at this. You should try this out. And now next thing you know, she's a professional. And then for the strawweight champ, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she actually started off in Muay Thai, very good at it, and didn't expect she'd ever be that good. Competes for a world championship there. And then all of a sudden, her career took a turn to mixed martial arts, and I'll let her tell you about that now.
I used to do just kickboxing and Muay Thai, and my trainers, they were like, you should try MMA. I was like, no, I don't like it. I like it, sandwiches, cauliflowers. And I was like, there is no way I will do this, you know? I want to look like a girl, not like a gremlin, you know? But the thing is, one day I was like, okay, why not? So I joined the jiu-jitsu class, but it was very, very difficult. So I got so mad when they submitted me so many times, you know, at the beginning. But then I was like, keep calm and keep on training. And I just became a UFC fighter one day and the champion.
So there's that information interesting there, John. And there's something else to all this. And earlier I said, you know, why are people, you know, tuning into the women? And a lot, I guess, we were talking about has to do with personality. They are very talented. A lot of them are very attractive too, John. And this is interesting in women's sports when you talk about this because so much more than a pretty face, you know what I mean? And they really are. I'm a huge fan of women's soccer. And I remember watching the World Cup. I don't want to say it was a part of it, but it was discussed. You know, you can be extremely good looking. And men too, you know, and playing, I think, a Cristiano Ronaldo, a very handsome man who's very good with a soccer ball. But I guess this is part of the discussion, though, too, when it comes to women's MMA.
It is. And, you know, before when you asked me why do people want to watch the women, I didn't want to come out and say, you know, oh, it's because they're good looking.
Yeah, first off, because obviously it's so much more than that.
That is. It really is. I mean, they are very, very good looking. A lot of them do modeling work on the side. But I think with that being said, though, you have to realize that their body does serve a purpose. You know, they're not eating the way how they're eating or working out the way how they're working in order to look sexy. That's not what they're doing. And in fact, I'm going to throw it to Michelle Watterson now, who her name's the Karate Hottie, fits well, as we were just saying. And let her tell you why she decided to do ESPN The Body. And actually, your photos came out so well that she was on the cover of the issue.
Yeah, it was a huge experience, something that I was nervous to do, something that I was, you know, a little scared to do, but at the end of the day, the things that scare you is what makes you, you know, stronger. And I did it because I want the idea of the body the stereotype of the body to be different and something other than sexual. You know, I want people to look at the body as an athletic piece of art. You know, we all are given this body when we're born, and you can literally do whatever you want with it. You can destroy it, or you can build it up to become whatever you want it to be. And that's a very powerful thing. And that's the message that I wanted to get out there.
So there was Michelle probably putting it much more eloquently than we could possibly do sitting here, John. And like you said, it is interesting because it is a question. And I guess it's an individual thing. Listen, if you want to embrace that and be a model and let it be part of your life, fantastic. If not, you know, you you don't have to. But definitely, definitely talented. John, thank you for discussing it today. And John will be back because there's a big boxing match coming up that a lot of people are talking about.
That's right, Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. And why I was in Vegas, it wasn't all UFC. I am a big boxing fan as well. So I actually did get to go to Floyd Mayweather's camp. I spoke with a couple of his uncles. I've spoke with some guys that are training there in the gym. And I have some big insight for the fight. So if you're going to place a bet, don't do it just yet. Wait for about a week before the fight. We'll be back, and I'll try to help everybody out on the fight.
All right, well, John, we appreciate your time today. And look for more sports stories and other stories, I guess, from our John Eric Poli here on SSPTV News.